Right. Okay. Hi everyone. So today, actually, we people are going to discuss about the concept of soil engineering or soil mechanics. Here, first we will discuss about soil engineering. So, soil mechanics. So in this first we will discuss actually what is the soil, what actually need for this soil, and when and who first introduced the term called soil mechanics. We will discuss. Okay. So actually this soil is the word which is defined by the Latin word known as solium. Latin word solium. Okay. So from the word solium, actually, soil is related according to this solium. According to the Webster's dictionary, so soil, which is known as the solium in Latin word. So this is known as the topmost soil, which can be plowed or dug out easily is known as the soil or soil. Okay. So this is what according to the Webster dictionary. So commonly we can define a soil from the term soil, which actually means for the topmost soil in the earth, which is easily plowed or easily dug out. Or you can also call that easily where plants grow. So such a particular layer is known as soil. This is what the common definition from the dictionaries. But when we see in engineering, so basically this engineering, as we know, especially from this dictionary meaning, when we consider the soil, so as we know that, let us consider this is the ground surface of the earth, okay, and then I am taking the different layers. As we know, the soil is comprised of so many layers, so different number of layers. Let us consider that this is a hard rock. Okay. So over this hard rock we will be having the soil material. So now in this, on this soil particles, so the material, especially the soil particles which are near to the ground surface, which are very near to the soil surface, to a depth to which we can plow easily, and at the same time we can allow the plants or the trees grow easily, or you can dug out the soil easily. So this particular material in solid particles of an earth is called as the soil. But according to the engineering use, the same soil is defined as an unconsolidated material. According to, or simply the engineering definition is soil is what is an unconsolidated solid particles or solid material which forms by the action by action of physical disintegration or chemical decomposition. We call it simply, we will discuss later the terms, but this is because of weathering action of rocks. So we will discuss this concept. Engineering definition of soil is an unconsolidated solid material. So usually the consolidation is the process or reduction in the volume of something, any material, under static and constant loads for a particular or an appreciable period. See here, when we consider the topmost soil where we can grow or allow the plants to grow, so which is not a consolidatable material, because itself it is not bearing, when it is free, it is not allowing to any existence. But in the earth, all the layers which below this topmost surface, this particular surface, so below the layer, all the remaining depth, all this remaining depth is consolidatable, which is consolidatable. So therefore, unconsolidated soil or solid material. So this solid material is nothing but soil in this case. Solid material which forms by the action of weathering of rocks. Okay. So therefore, we will discuss what actually weathering of rocks and all later. So this is what the definition of soil, normal definition as well as engineering definition. Now we will see actually where we got this term soil mechanics or soil engineering, and what is the importance of this soil mechanics for a civil engineer. Okay, so first we will go to the soil mechanics. What is the soil mechanics and who identified the term soil mechanics? Okay, so soil mechanics is an engineering word which is first coined by, the term soil mechanics is coined by Mr. Carl von Terzaghi. So he is popularly known as father of mechanics. It is popularly known as father of soil mechanics or geotechnical engineering. Soil mechanics, better to call soil mechanics, because the soil mechanics is a small branch in the geotechnical engineering. Okay, so coined by Mr. Carl von Terzaghi, father of soil mechanics, popularly known in the year of 1925. So he was published in German, Egbod Mechanism, called Egbod Mechanism. So when it is printed in 1925, he was coined a name that is soil mechanics. So which totally deal with the soil. Okay, so he given the term soil mechanics and he defined this soil mechanics. As we know, till now, what is the soil, but we don't know what is the soil mechanics. Okay, so this soil mechanics is nothing but soil mechanics is an application of, this is according to the Terzaghi, is an application of mechanics or laws of mechanics. First thing we should remember the laws of mechanics and laws of hydraulics. To all the engineering problems. To all engineering problems in soil. Okay, so which is again soil is again we know, but this is the formation. This is a solid material which is formed by the disintegration and decomposition we will discuss. So weathering of rocks. So according to the textile, soil mechanics is nothing but it is defined as it is an application of laws of mechanics and laws of hydraulics to all engineering problems in the soil. So how we can apply this laws of mechanics and laws of hydraulics to all engineering problems in the soils? Because whenever we see all different types of soil structures, as we know, whatever the structure that is built over the ground, so as we are really very aware that all the structures are constructed in the earth, means from inside the earth or on the earth. So therefore, earth is a major material or it is a major planet, so totally comprised of the soil. So therefore, that is what the final foundation for all different types of structures. How many number of floors or whatever the type of structure that we are constructing on this earth, the ultimate goal is to transfer the total load of the structure, including all other different loads coming on it, to the foundation. So therefore, see here the foundation is fine. So therefore, whenever our foundation is good as sufficient, then only the structure is safer. If the foundation is not good, the foundation automatically then leads to the failure of the structure, whatever we are built over the soil. So therefore, when we adopt a particular soil or a particular place for a foundation or like a foundation material, automatically that foundation material should possess or it should satisfy all the requirements of the structure. So therefore, this soil should be in good condition first. Okay, so that can be derived and that can be achieved whether it is in good condition or not, or if any problems we face with this soil, we should rectify that particular problems, and that rectification can be done by application of laws of mechanics and application of laws of hydraulics. First we will see how the laws of mechanics work. Laws of mechanics, so is nothing but the engineering mechanics, actually which is the system and nature of forces. Nature of forces acting on soil. How we apply the mechanics to the soil in the sense? So mechanics is all dealing with the system of forces and the nature of forces, nature, types and its application, everything. How the different forces are acting on the soil is defined or is studied in soil engineering or soil mechanics, and then other one is the laws of hydraulics. So these laws of hydraulics, this laws of hydraulics, so where the laws of hydraulics is all dealing with the flow of water inside the earth, deals with the flow of water in soil mass. So this is how the soil is subjecting to different types of forces and different natures of forces, different systems of forces, and at the same time how the water flow takes place within the soil, maybe because of rainwater or any other water. So how the soil behaves when soil allows water to flow through it, because all the groundwater table is because of the soil, the process of percolation, the process of seepage of water through the soil. So therefore, when soil allows water to flow through the body, there may be changes in the existing properties of the soil. We will discuss what are the properties and all in the further classes. But now first we will see. So this is how, if you want to identify, at the same time if you want to study that particular phenomena, so this is how we define the soil mechanics. So this is what the definition of soil mechanics according to the text. And he was given another name for the soil mechanics is particulate mechanics. Particulate mechanics, because the soil is comprises of all the particles. So different individual particles will form together or will combine together and form a soil. So therefore, depending on that concept, it was given another name, that is particulate mechanics. Okay. So since the term soil mechanics is first coined by the Terzaghi, so that is the reason why we are calling him as the father of mechanics. And he represented this in 1925 when his book Ergod Mechanism is printed in German. Okay. So now we will see how actually the soil is forming. How actually the soil is formed. We talk about the formation of the soil. Okay. So we will discuss about the formation of soil. Soil formation. Soil formation. So how actually this soil is formed is really very what you call the big question. But before going to talk about the concept of soil formation, first we will discuss soil formation only, no problem at all. So see, the soil is formed as we discussed that the soil is unconsolidated material which is formed by just now I told that which is formed by the disintegration and decomposition, but I didn't represent. But now we will see soil formation. Okay, so soil is formed. Soil is formed basically. Soil is formed by weathering. By weathering of rocks, but this particular weathering means which leads to the formation of soil. Actually the term in between soil and rocks, we have a term that is weathering. Okay, so this rock is changes from rock state to the solid state. I mean totally solid, strong solid state to the particles state. So this conversion is because of the term means weathering. Okay. So where this weathering is of two types. First one is this weathering is because of the physical disintegration. Or maybe because of chemical decomposition. Physical disintegration and chemical decomposition. So soil is formed by weathering of rocks. So that weathering may be because of physical disintegration or chemical decomposition. So we can also, instead of calling physical disintegration, we can also call this as mechanical disintegration. No problem at all. Okay, we can also call it in two different names. Now we will see what actually this physical disintegration involves and what actually this chemical decomposition involves. Okay, so this physical disintegration involves in changes in the temperature. First one, changes in temperature. So as per this is what the temperature of environment. Changes in the environmental temperature or unusual changes in the temperature. And second one is wedging action of ice. Wedging action of ice. Third one is abrasion. Abrasion. And the fourth one is roots of plants. roots of trees, temperate trees. Okay. So these four are the major factors. Of course, we may have different factors for the physical disintegration of the rocks. Means disintegrating in the sense changing the rock into a powder or into small particles of having the sizes really very less compared to the rock. So that particular change from a solid particle, from a strong solid rock to single particles, different particles, detachment of particles. So we have four processes. One is changes in temperature, wedging action of ice, abrasion and roots of trees. And the second one, which involves, this is the chemical decomposition, purely a chemical process. This is purely a chemical process. So this chemical process may be hydration, because of the process hydration, and maybe because of the process carbonation, hydrolysis, solution, and oxidation. So these five are the major concepts that which actually leads to the chemical decomposition. Means these are all the processes: hydration, carbonation, hydrolysis, solution and oxidation. Okay. First we will discuss step by step how this physical disintegration occurs and how this chemical decomposition occurs. We will discuss. First one is the changes in temperature. As we know, the major source for the formation of the soil is what? The physical rock. Rock is the major source. So whatever the water we are getting, that the major source is known as the rainwater, drinking water, for drinking water. So in that way, here rock is the major mineral. Okay, this is a mineral rock which comprises so many different minerals in that. So like feldspar, coal and all other different types of minerals. Okay. So now since this rock contains different types of minerals, as we know, when a particular body, as we know we are a unique body, so therefore when we expose to the temperature, our behavior may be unique. But rock is a combination of different minerals. So different minerals itself, they are having different thermal expansions. Their coefficient of thermal expansion is different. So that is what. So here rock comprises of so many minerals, but different minerals. So different minerals are having different coefficient of thermal expansions. So therefore, when we have different thermal expansions, each and every individual, the total sunlight or the temperature on a particular rock may be constant. That may be 28, 38, 30 degree, whatever. So the temperature on the rock is constant, but the minerals present in the rock are having different thermal expansions. They will be having different coefficient of thermal expansions. Therefore, they react differently under a particular constant temperature. So these are different changes, and at the same time, even when the temperature changes in the environment from daytime to night time, and at the same time, even in the daytime, morning session, afternoon session and night session. So these different unequal temperature changes will lead to the difference in different coefficient of thermal expansion different. So different contractions and different expansions within the minerals, they lead to the detachment of particles. means separation of small powder or small particles from the rock. So this is how the soils are formed. But it is not a small periodical process. So it is continuous, and at the same time it takes maximum when it is not simply, you can say soil is formed by weathering of rocks by physical disintegration or chemical decomposition. That is okay, but not in a short period. When it is subjected to a certain appreciable heat, means for a considerable period, very long period, then only it's happened. So this is how, because of the temperature changes, soil forms. And second one is the wedging action of the ice. So whenever in the rainy seasons, usually whatever the moisture or whatever the water particles that are locked between the fissures or gaps of the rock, in winter or in the night times, they may get cooled, and finally they change from moisture, means water or liquid state to the solid state, or simply liquid state to the ice state. So when liquid is changes to the ice, water changes to ice, its volume increases. That increasing in the volume by the wedging action of ice means the trapped or locked water in the rock particles or rock fissures is changes to the ice, and that ice is having usually greater volume compared to the water. So therefore that increasing the volume will produce some pressure, swelling pressure on the rock, and leads to the formation of soil. Means finally the rock particles are detached, they separated, they break into pieces, and when they break into pieces, so all the small powder or salt particles deposited on the rock and they form soil. And then the third one is the abrasion. So this is another way we can call this one as some sort of friction. No problem at all. So when usually air is moving in the environment with some speed, so compulsory it touches the rock. So therefore there is some there is some interaction between the rock as well as the air which is moving over the rock or by touching the rock. So this one, and even in the rainy seasons, whatever the water which falls over the rock will usually flow on the rock. Okay, so that particular flow of water will also produce some friction. So in this way, all the environmental factors, especially the air and water, or all the glaciers, even the glaciers when they flow or when they move on the surface of the rock, they produce some friction. So that frictional force between these two, rock material as well as all these environmental actions like flowing of air, flowing of water, and then moving of glaciers over that, will produce some friction, and that abrasion leads to the reduction in the volume by detaching of particles. And the fourth one is the roots of trees. So as we can see in our day-to-day life, when trees or small plants, they start living in between the rock, fissures of the rock, and day by day they grow, and finally the roots are embedded, or simply what we call they penetrated into the gaps of the rocks, and finally they lead to the breaking of the fissures of the rock. Or else they may increase the gap, between the rock fissures, rock particles. So that is also leads to the formation of soil, means detachment of particles. All these four phenomena, only one output, that is changing a rock from its totally solid state to small powder, okay, or small particles. So this is what happened. And you should remember one thing, that okay, you please remember that this is over. Next, first we will discuss about this hydrogen, carbonation, hydrolysis and all. So let me run this particular part. Okay. Next we will see the first concept is the hydration. First concept is the hydration. So in this concept, water particles H2O add with rock. So the surface water which is present, or when the rock is exposed to the water, that may be rain water, flowing water, whatever, even in the environmental moisture in the winter. In winter, environmental moisture in the night time will form like a snow on the rock, or else in the rainy season directly the rock is exposed to the rainwater. So therefore that water to some extent is absorbed by the rock material. So therefore there is increasing and decreasing. When rock absorbs the water, there is increasing, its volume is increases to some extent, really very less. And when water is detached, means removed from the rock, or when it is dry, its volume will decrease. So this increasing and decreasing in the volumes will also lead to the formation of soil. And then the carbonation. So this carbonation is a process, especially carbon dioxide present in the environment plus hydrogen, means H2O, water. So they react each other. So this is the first one. And in the second case, carbon dioxide present in the air and water moisture present in the air will combine together, means they react together, they add together and they form carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. So this carbonic acid is a harmful acid. So this carbonic acid which formed because of the combination of CO2 and H2O will react with the rock minerals and they reduce the volume of the rock. They reduce the volume of the rock. Means they change the rock again into a soil. And then hydrolysis. Hydrolysis is the process where actually water dissolved. Water is dissolved into. So this H2O is dissolved into H plus ions and OH minus ions. H plus ions and H minus ions, OH minus ions, and all the cat ions of hydrogen. Cations of hydrogen, ions of hydrogen dioxide react with rock and then lead to the formation of soil. So actually they replace, all the hydrogen cations. So these hydrogen cations, so all these cations they are all replaced by some other metals, metallic ions, and finally they react with the solid rock, and which leads to the formation of soil. And then the fourth one, the solution. I would like to run fourth. Now we will discuss the fourth one. Fourth one is the solution. So actually, this is what the concept. So see, when the rock minerals dissolved in water, when rock minerals dissolved in water. So as we know, some rock minerals they are able to dissolve in water. So when such a particular rock minerals dissolved in water, so this forms a solution. They form one solution, but new solution will form. And that solution again reacts with the rock minerals. That solution again reacts with rock minerals and again leads to the detachment of particles, rock particles from rock to the soil. So this is how the process will take place. So we call it as the solution. And oxidation, we can also call this one as this is the same process of rusting of iron. Okay. So oxygen ions present in the environment. Oxygen ions present in the environment will react with rock minerals and leads to the oxidation. So where like a rust, like how the rust is formed over the surface of the iron. In that way, a very small size particles like a powder type of layer is formed on the rocks. So So that again leads to the formation of soil. So it is all because of the oxidation process. So this is how physically we have 4 different actions, chemically we have 5 different actions. These physical and chemical actions. So all these processes comes under chemical actions, and the formation of soil by this chemical or the reduction in the volume of rock because of these actions is known as a decomposition. And at the same time, a reduction of volume of rock means since some particles are detaching from the rock, so therefore its volume compulsorily reduces. So that reduction because of physical means 4 different actions that we discussed just now. Such particular phenomena is known as disintegration and decomposition. So we should what we call highlight these 2 concepts: disintegration and decomposition. Decomposition and disintegration. Now we will see what type of soils actually forms by this disintegration and decomposition. Okay. So first we will see when disintegration takes place. So here we are talking about all physical actions. Physical actions. Okay. And when we talk about here chemical decomposition, here we are discussing about all chemical reactions. Chemical reactions. Okay. So all the types of soils which formed by the physical disintegration or the physical actions are known as inorganic soils. Inorganic soils. Or we can also call them as coarse grained soils. Coarse grained soils. Soils, and the soils which formed by physical disintegration are having the same properties of their parent rock. Okay, so these inorganic soils have the same properties of parent rock from which they form. Okay, so all this type of inorganic soil. So the soil which forms because of the action of disintegration or physical disintegration or mechanical disintegration, all the soils are known as inorganic soils or the coarse grained soils will form. And these particular soils will possess or will have the same properties. They exist the same properties, or indirectly they behave same like their parent rock from there or from which they derive. And when we come to the chemical decomposition, all the types of soils which forms because of this chemical reaction are known as organic soils. Organic soils. So they are also known as, or we can also call this one as cumulose soils. Cumulose soils. Organic or cumulose soils. And all these soils are fine-grained soils. Fine-grained soils. And all these soils are fine-grained soils. Okay. So now here we have some difference between physical weathering, the soils which forms by the physical weathering, and the soils which form by the chemical weathering. All the soils which form by the physical weathering, they behave like their parent rock. But here the properties of chemically weathered soils are different from their parent rock. From their parent rock. So this is what the difference. This is what here they behave like their parent rock, but here they do not behave like their parent rock. Okay, and all this physical disintegrated soil, it is all depending on the formation. So soil formation is because of these two things. So based on the source, physical disintegration, main source is the rock, but based on the process, physical disintegration and chemical decomposition. So we have some soils and chemical decomposition, we have some other different types of soils, and we should remember that all the types. The best examples for this is, the best examples are sands and gravels. Sands and gravels. So usually the soils are having the size greater than 0.075 mm. 0.075 mm. And whereas here the basic example, so I don't have the place here, so I would like to write at the top. So the best example for this is, we can say clays, we can say sand, and you can say black cotton soil. Black cotton soil. And the size of these particles is less than 0.075 mm. Is less than 0.075 mm. So this is how, depending on the process, we have the soils. They are inorganic soils and organic soils. So simply coarse grain and fine grain. So these properties and these properties, size of these particles and size of that particular particles. Okay. So this is how initially the soil is formed. Physical and chemical decomposition. So is it a one-time process? No, it is a continuous process. It is a continuous process, like the food chain. Like a food chain, here also we have a chain for continuous formation of soil. Continuous formation of soil. Now we will discuss what is the process. Okay. So soil formation, here is this concept. Here is this concept. So formation of soil is a continuous process. It is not a single time process. Okay. Formation of soil or soil formation is a continuous process, like food chain. But this continuous process, especially in soil formation, for soil formation, is known as, it is not a food chain, is known as geological cycle. Geological cycle. Geological cycle. So in the geological cycle, first as we just talked about the concept of formation of the soils. In that formation of soils, as we discussed just now, the first and foremost step is decomposition or disintegration. So this decomposition and disintegration, both are the processes, weathering processes especially. Means weathering of rocks leads to the formation of soil. For weathering we have two processes. So therefore, first and foremost thing for the formation of soil is weathering. Weathering. Okay, weathering of rock. First step in the cycle is equal to first step. And then the second one is transportation of soils. Whatever the soils that are weathered at a particular position or at a particular place, they may transport it. They may carry it from one place to other place by means of flowing water or by means of wind or by means of anything. Okay. So therefore, soil is transported. Once it is formed, it is transported from one place to other place. So the next point is transportation of particles. Transportation of soil or particles. So here, the weathering of rock leads to the formation of soil, and now transportation of this soil will lead to the deposition somewhere. Third one is deposition of soil. deposition of soil. So they transport to some extent and they finally they deposit at a particular place. And then the fourth step is upheaval of particles. Upheaval of particles or upheaval of soil. So this is what really very important stage for repetition of formation of soil. So once weathering, we know well what is the weathering, soil is formed, that's okay. Now the formed soil is transported by means of anything, by means of like any other physical or chemical process or by means of vehicles, whatever, okay. And finally, at a particular place they deposited. So now during this process, see this earth itself, it has some equilibrium. So when, for suppose here I have a rock, let us consider that I have a rock. So this rock is disintegrated and forms soil, and this soil is transported here. Let us consider this is transported and deposited here. Equilibrium of the earth is affected by the transportation of soil particles from one place to other place. And during this process, when formed, so suppose this is a rock, all the soils are formed here, and found soils are again transported by means of anything. Now when it is transported, again the remaining portion, so this transportation, again the remaining portion of the rock is exposed to the environment. So when deposition of soil somewhere else, its birthplace is different, its deposition place is different. Again what happened, they led to the improper equilibrium of earth, and then that led to the upheaval of particles. And again these particles will upheaval, and finally these particles will upheaval, and finally the remaining rock is directly exposed to the environment. When it is directly exposed to the environment, again the process is repeated, physical and chemical decomposition, and it is a continuous process, chain process. So therefore, we call it as the geological cycle. Like food chain, we call it as geological cycle. First weathering of rock, then transportation, then deposition, upheaval, and again the weathering of rock. So this is how it is repeated. But what is the importance of soil mechanics? Why should I study the soil mechanics is very, very important. We will discuss the remaining classification. We have so many classification of soils according to Indian standards, and then according to the mode of transportation or mode of deposition and all. We will discuss later. But first we will see what is the scope of soil mechanics. Scope of soil mechanics. Scope of soil mechanics is very, very important. Scope of soil mechanics. Okay. So where scope of soil mechanics is nothing but its application. Why we should study? Why should I study? And why should we study soil mechanics? What is its applications? Its major application. It has its own applications in, like soil mechanics exactly define that application of laws of mechanics and laws of hydraulics in soil. So why? Because especially useful with their application of laws of mechanics and application of laws of hydraulics in soil mechanics is on foundations or foundation soils. And second one is for retaining structures or on retaining structures. Then slope stabilities. Especially for the spine. And then bunds, earthen dams, earthen bunds, and all. And then so many miscellaneous stuff. there are different miscellaneous factors among the categories. So when we go for a foundation, compulsory we should examine what type of soil is present over there, what is the bearing capacity of the soil, how far it bears the stress, how far it bears the external load. Of course, that may be a building load, that may be a bridge load, that may be a dam load, whatever. So we should check for it. So this checking process is involved in the soil mechanics. In that way, all the retaining structures which hold the soil, all the slope stabilities, means whenever there is a need to provide the slope by means of the soil, especially in earthen bands and so. And then all the earthen dams and bunds, these are really very great structures. So extra care should be taken on these particular concepts, because whenever we have the earth band, especially some dams, they are constructed of their main portion they are constructed by using concrete and reinforced concrete. But whereas in other cases, the remaining throughout the catchment or all along the perimeter of the catchment, they may be provided with earthen bands. So therefore, for the storing of water, it is really very important to take care of that particular soil structures like earthen bands and earthen dams and so on. So all this care is involved in the soil mechanics. So if you want to take care of all these things, or if you want to make use of soil, especially in an effective way, compulsory we should have a knowledge on soil mechanics. So this is how we do. In the next class we will discuss the further classification of soils. Right? Thank you so much.